Uh, that's kind of imperfect. That's today's topic. Ragazzi, ragazze, signore e signori, welcome back to Manu. Ask Manu Italiano, Italy Made Easy. My name is Manu. Today we have a huge episode. It will probably last a very long time, so find a comfortable seat and get ready for this. Now, we have an advanced question, so meaning it's a question about an advanced topic. Yeah, the question is actually asked in Italian, so I hold back and when we come back, I'll tell you what the question was, although you can actually read it. But anyway, today, more than any time, you will need the PDF. So click on the banner below or the annotation up there or in the link in the description. But please do go to italymadeeasy.com and download the PDF that accompanies today's lesson with all the examples, translations, exercises, blah 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 blah. Ascoltiamo la domanda che viene da Sherry. Ciao Sherry.
Ciao Manu, mi chiamo Sherry e vivo negli Stati Uniti. Ho studiato l'italiano da circa 6 anni e mezzo e sono a livello intermedio. Ho grandi problemi con il sapere di quando usare il passato prossimo verso l'imperfetto. Conosco le regole, ma per qualunque ragione non hanno senso per me e devo pensare troppo. Aiutami!
Perfetto. Allora, Sherry, first of all, congratulations on your Italian. Excellent. In case you didn't understand the question, it was about the confusion that we all have between the two past tenses, the two most common past tenses in Italian, the passato prossimo and the imperfetto. It is quite confusing, and believe me, you're not the only one. I actually took the liberty to add that little comment that you're desperate on. I was just having fun. I hope you don't mind. Now, one little mistake that you made in something you said, which is quite common. You said, ho studiato l'italiano da circa 6 anni e mezzo. You should not use the passato prossimo here. You should actually use the present tense in Italian because you're still studying it. So you should say, studio l'italiano da 6 anni e mezzo. I'm studying Italian because you still are. If you had stopped studying, then the passato prossimo would be good, but the preposition would be per. So if you had studied for 6 years, but you're no longer studying, you would say, ho studiato l'italiano per 6 anni. But because you're still studying it. Anyway, that's not today's topic. Why am I adding stuff? It's already a huge episode. All right, so let me pull out the whiteboard and see if I can help you. Now, of course, being a huge topic, because it actually includes two tenses that are difficult in their own merit. And now we are looking at the difficulty of using the right one. So I can't do it. I can give you some tips though. And soon I will start a series on Italian grammar and I will tackle every single element of the Italian grammar. So this will come up again. But today, trying to give you a few tips. What's the difference between the passato prossimo and the imperfetto? So the passato prossimo, I'm not going to tell you how to form it, I'm assuming that you know, okay, is for actions that have taken or something that happened in the past and they have a start and end point. It means that they have concluded. For example, if I say, ieri ho mangiato pizza, yesterday I ate pizza, what am I saying? Yesterday, which is finished, I did what? I did the eating of the pizza, which I started and I finished, obviously, because I ate it. Next example. 10 anni fa sono andato in Italia. 10 anni fa sono andato in Italia. 10 years ago I went to Italy. Again, 10 years ago is over and done with, but that's not the main point. The point is the story that I'm telling you. The fact that I went to Italy. I went and I came back. So my action of going started and finished. When? 10 years ago. So that's the passato prossimo. Now the imperfetto is easier in a way, but it's more tricky because you can't see it in English. You can see a past tense in English, but you don't see the imperfetto so much in English. So the imperfetto is used for something that happened in the past or something in the past that does not have a clear time. It does not have a clear start and end point, and therefore it presumably carried on for a longer period of time. or an undetermined period of time. What does that mean, Manu? It means this. Few examples. Quando ero piccolo mangiavo sempre la pizza. Quando ero piccolo, when I was little, mangiavo sempre la pizza. I always ate pizza. Now, think about this. When did I eat pizza? Is there a specific time? Not really. The whole time I was little, or young in English. So the whole time I was young, I ate pizza. Right? I'm not telling you when I ate it. I mean, I'm telling you because it's when I was young, but that's a huge period and I'm not even being specific about it, right? So that's why I'm using the imperfetto. I'll tell you more exactly later why we're using the imperfetto, but that's the main idea. Quando andavo in piscina, di solito nuotavo per 2 ore. Quando andavo in piscina, when I went to the swimming pool, meaning when I used to go to the swimming pool, I no longer do, right? Di solito nuotavo per 2 ore. I usually swam for 2 hours. Again, these are habits, right? This is something that it doesn't have a real time. I'm not telling you yesterday when I went to the pool I swam 2 hours, or 5 years ago when I went to the pool I swam 2 hours. It's not an event. It's a storytelling kind of thing, okay? That's why I'm using the imperfetto. Now, but the imperfetto can also be used in other circumstances. For example, when I'm describing something in the past. Nothing happened at all. For example, if I say la mia prima macchina era rossa. La mia prima macchina era rossa. My first car was red. The verb is era. That's the imperfetto of to be, essere. Era, was. Did anything happen? Did my car do anything? No. I'm just saying the color of my car was red. So if I took the car back or forward in time to today, I would say that my car is red, right? I'm describing it. Nothing happened. Imperfetto. 5 anni fa Marco aveva una ragazza svedese. 5 anni fa, here's a time reference, 5 years ago. So you might think, isn't this the same as 5 years ago I went to Italy? Not. Why not? 5 years ago, Marco aveva una ragazza svedese. Marco had a Swedish girlfriend. What's the difference between 10 years ago I went to Italy and 5 years ago Marco had a girlfriend? It sounds the same in English, doesn't it? The fact that 5 years ago, the story that I'm telling you, 10 years ago, I did one thing. And the thing that I'm telling you that I did was to go to Italy and to come back. Here, the story that I'm telling you is different. I'm saying that 5 years ago, during that time, Marco had a girlfriend during the whole time. It's not an event. It's like saying, imagine a timeline. Go back to 5 years ago, and that's the timeline for 365 days. Underneath, you have whatever happened, which is he had a girlfriend the whole time. It's not an event. Okay? I don't know if that helps. Quando sono andato in Italia 10 anni fa, faceva molto caldo. We're bringing back the example of that Italy thing. Quando sono andato in Italia 10 anni fa, when I went to Italy 10 years ago, that's Passato Prossimo because I went. I did the going, yeah? The action took place. I went to Italy and I came back. The action is finished. Passato Prossimo for that side, that part of the sentence. But then I say, faceva molto caldo. It was very hot. The fact that it was hot, it's a description of the whole time that I was in Italy. It's not an event. You see what's happening a little bit? Maybe I can help you a bit more with the next bit. Now, the imperfetto doesn't tell a full story. It just sets the scene for what actually happened, which is usually expressed in the passato prossimo or passato remoto or other tenses, but it doesn't matter. So basically, the imperfetto sets the scene, and then something happens. For example, in English, I would say, I was cooking when she walked in. In that sentence, if I was saying that in Italian, the I was cooking, that's setting the scene, because, in English even, you can't just say I was cooking full stop. Like, yeah, you were cooking and? Okay, that's the imperfetto. You don't tell a full story with the imperfetto. Usually you expect something to happen. So I was cooking, or while I was cooking, something happened, which is she walked in, okay? So, here is my help to you to get it right. I thought I was losing you, therefore I called my wild turkey friend to entertain you a little bit, because I know he's cuter than me. All right, question. So what I would say, ask yourself questions when you're thinking in your past tense, and if you're trying to understand when you should use the passato prossimo or when you should use the imperfetto. Actually, let's have a look. Question 1 is, did anything actually happen? For example, if I'm describing my car as being red in the past, nothing happened. Imperfetto. La mia macchina era rossa. Hot weather. Did anything happen? No, I'm just describing the weather in the past. Ieri faceva caldo. Yesterday it was hot. I was young. Did anything happen when you're talking about I was young, I was little, when she was 5? Not really. I'm just setting the scene, right? So nothing happened. So, quando ero piccolo, quando ero giovane, quando avevo 15 anni. They're all imperfettos. The time. If I'm talking about the time in the past, like it was 5 o'clock when this happened, that is again setting the scene. It's nothing happened. The fact that it was 5 o'clock, it's not an event. It happens every time, right? So that's not the point of the story. So I'm going to tell you that you should be using the imperfetto for these cases in most cases. Question number 2. Is it a habit that could be be replaced in English with used to or would always? Why? Well, because if you're describing a habit, in Italian, you will use the imperfetto. For example, swimming. In my example before, like when I used to go to the swimming pool, I would swim for 2 hours. Those are habits. I'm not telling you that yesterday I went and I swam, but I'm telling you that when I used to go swimming, I would swim. See, used to and would. Okay. Play basketball. When I was little, I always played basketball. Is that an event? It's not. It's a habit. The whole time that I was little, that I was young, I keep saying that, the whole time that I was young, I played basketball. I always played basketball. Okay. For example, visit my grandma. What does that mean? Well, when we were young, we always visited grandma for Easter. That's a habit. Nothing happened. Why is that? But yeah, I visited grandma. Yes, but you're telling me, the story that you're telling me is that the whole time that you were young, you always went to visit grandma for Easter. So it's a habit. Even if you didn't visit her once or twice, it doesn't matter. Okay, so it's still a habit that you're trying to report. Question number 3. If in English it's a continuous action in the past, again it's an imperfetto. So if you're thinking, I was singing, blah, blah, blah. Yesterday I was singing when they called me. Imperfetto. The I was singing is cantavo. Ieri cantavo. I was singing. Were selling. At the markets, they were selling apples. Al mercato vendevano mele. They were selling. Imperfetto. Because it's a continuous action in English in the past. Therefore, I'm going to use the imperfetto. Was thinking. I was thinking we should go to the movies. Yeah? Pensavo, blah, blah, blah. Pensavo che dovremmo andare al cinema. Pensavo, I was thinking. Okay, we're getting close to having a few tips here. Number 4, another question that I would like you to ask yourself when you are in doubt. Is there any time reference that would suggest that the action was ongoing in the thing that you're saying? For example, if you say something like da piccolo, when I was young, da giovane, when I was young, spesso, often, sempre, always. Now, it doesn't mean that every time you say sempre you have to use an imperfetto, but it's an indication that you're telling a habit. Yeah. Now, here's the horrible truth, though, and you will not like it, or maybe you will. I don't know. Sometimes both passato prossimo and imperfetto are possible. It just depends on the story you're trying to tell. Right. Yes. Here's examples. If I said, quando vivevo in Italia mangiavo sempre la pizza. Quando vivevo in Italia mangiavo sempre la pizza. So here we have two imperfettos. When I used to live in Italy, I used to always eat pizza. So the two simultaneous actions that happened while I was in Italy the whole time, I always had pizza. And again, it doesn't have to be always, but that's the idea. But I could change it and I could say, quando vivevo in Italia, so that's an imperfetto, when I used to live in Italy, Ho mangiato una pizza favolosa a Napoli. Here I've used the passato prossimo. What's the difference between the two sentences? Can you tell the difference? In the first sentence, like I said, the whole time that I lived in Italy, it's a habit. I'm reporting like a continuous event. The whole time I had pizza, the whole time. The second example, while I was living in Italy, quando vivevo in Italia, one time I had an amazing pizza in Naples. That's because I only went to Naples once, or maybe I only went to that restaurant once, and that pizza was amazing, which I only had once. Okay? That's why I'm using the passato prossimo in that second element of the second example. Oh, I'm tired, are you? I hope you're following. Should I call the turkey again? Nah, I think we can handle. We have one more example. Da giovane avevo I capelli lunghi. Da giovane avevo I capelli lunghi. When I was young, I used to have long hair. Or when I was young, I had long hair. You don't have to say used to. I'm just saying it to stress the fact that it's a habit or it's a description or in the past, okay? So it makes sense that I use imperfettos because I'm describing me as a young man having long hair, believe it or not. So, what's the second example then? Da giovane ho avuto I capelli blu per 2 settimane. Da giovane, again, when I was young, so it's the same as beginning as before. So why am I using a passato prossimo to talk about my hair? It's because when I was young, I had blue hair for 2 weeks. That's a very limited time. It's not a description of me in the past, meaning the whole time that I was young, I had blue hair. I'm saying that while I was young, there were 2 weeks, that's an event, in which I had blue hair. It was more months than weeks, but, you know, let's pretend it was only 2 weeks, hopefully. Okay, did this help you? Just a little bit, a little bit. I know it's very confusing. And hopefully soon I will be able to have targeted videos where I explain fully the passato prossimo, fully the imperfetto, and fully the contrast between the two. But for now, let that be enough. So if you are Sherry, I hope that helped you. And if you're an intermediate student also struggling with the imperfetto passato prossimo, and who isn't, I'm sure this helped you a little bit. And if you're a beginner and this scared you, come back to this video in a few months and it hopefully will help you. Other than that, please visit my website where you can find the PDF for this episode and also a lot of other resources. And if you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up, if not just for the turkey. And share the video if you think that somebody could benefit from this. If you're not a subscriber, please do consider subscribing. That way you don't miss any of my daily lessons. Daily, I said daily, yes. And if you've missed any episodes of this particular series, Ask Manu Italiano, which comes out on Tuesdays, check out the playlist over there or in the description below. And I will see you next week. Ci vediamo la settimana prossima per Ask Manu Italiano. And I will see you tomorrow for something different. Ciao ciao.